All right, so first off, we have Racing Louisville General Manager Ryan Dell. Ryan gave his opening remarks out there, so why don't we just open it right up to questions?
Ryan, you mentioned in the press conference that Bev was also being pursued by a lot of other teams for the position. First off, knowing that she was being pursued maybe as heavily as she was, how important was it for you to get her to stay home? And did it ever really seem like she wanted to be anywhere else besides here?
No, I think Bev always wanted to be here in Louisville. Obviously, you know the close connection she has with her family. We're excited for her two young girls to grow up in Louisville. I think the courting from other clubs was something you know about, but doesn't make your decision, right? And so we wanted to make sure we went through the process in a timely manner and got the right person for this club. So it was something that's always in the back of your mind. But at the end of the day, I think everyone who's interviewing at this stage is probably being courted by somebody else. So we felt really good about where we were with the process.
You mentioned when this whole process kind of started, how much you wanted the players maybe to be involved with someone like this. Obviously, they have a connection with Bev being their assistant beforehand. How vocal were they about maybe bringing it on board?
I think the players made it really clear in their exit meetings how much they valued Bev, and that was a part of the decision. We felt that the players had kind of vocalized over the year, how important Bev was to them, and that kind of helped play a role in that process.
How can Bev bring a winning tradition here at this point? And ultimately, what does that kind of change look like now that she is the lead?
Yeah, Bev's an incredible coach. She's has incredible attention to detail. We think that coming in, our players really crave that kind of work ethic, that attention to detail in those training sessions. So bringing that in will be really positive for what our players will see when they come back for preseason.
Was this a fairly obvious choice for you to make this decision?
I think we wanted to go through the entire process. We always knew how great Bev was. But we did go through a really involved process. That process included Champions League winners. It included sitting national team coaches. It included coaches that were remarkable that I'd worked with at the Federation. So it was a really strenuous process. But knowing that Bev came out on top across all those people that we just talked about is pretty impressive, and I think speaks so many volumes to what Bev can do for this club.
With her being a very successful former player, only 35 years old, how much does something like that, and knowing how close she can get with players and understand kind of the ins and outs, how big was that in Ireland?
I think it's important, but also you have to, as a head coach, and I've learned it coming into my role, you have to be stern, you have to be direct, and you have to make difficult decisions. And that was something I asked Bev in the process. I think her relationship with players is great, but we do want to hire an assistant coach that can also foster those great relationships. And we're down the road in that process as well.
You've established a relatively new relationship, if you will, with her as well, coming over here as well. So it's starting something new in a way, but having a familiar face on top of that with these women, it's a unique dynamic. It feels like, from your perspective, how is this going to work?
I think the dynamic's great. I've gotten to know Bev over a long year, and her work ethic has been absolutely amazing. Feel really confident working together. I told her through this process, and she's alluded to it as well, that we want a partnership. At the end of the day, roster decisions will be a lot driven by that position, if not completely driven by that position, and that's what we want it to be in this club. So we want to come in, and we've started meeting 2 or 3 times regularly over the last couple of weeks to kind of build out what that roster will look like.
With all the changes in just like a short amount of time, do you feel like she kind of brings like that foundational piece to?
Yeah, I think there's always changes in women's soccer, but Bev has a great foundation. We're going to build with 2 assistant coaches, which is a great step in the right direction for this club to compete in this league. And I know we're going to get 2 great coaches to support Bev, so she has all the resources she needs to be successful.
The league is expanding playoffs to 8 teams next season. Does the expectation to make playoffs come into this decision, and what conversations have you had with Bev around that?
The expectation to make playoffs is always here. This team has finished 9 3 consecutive years. We want to make the playoffs every year, and that's a standard of this club. So I think it's always going to be a factor, but knowing that that's the standard has never been a question.
Knowing that is the standard, what do you feel Bev can do to get past that?
Yeah, Bev brings an incredible tactical knowledge, but also the relationship pieces. She knows a lot of experience inside the NWSL. That's a key. And then putting that into play with our players and strong tactical plans and training sessions will pay dividends down the line.